Welcome back. Tonight, we are going to leave the noise of the modern world behind. We are traveling back to a time of grit, iron, and endless horizons, the Wild West. But this isn't a story of glorious gunfights or shiny sheriff badges. This is a story about the long, lonely road, about the dust that settles in your lungs and the silence that follows a storm. So, find a comfortable position, relax your shoulders, unclench your jaw, let the darkness of the room wrap around you like a heavy wool blanket on a cold prairie night. Close your eyes. Let's ride. The story begins. Imagine the heat first. It's 1874, and you are standing on the porch of a saloon that has seen better decades. The wood beneath your boots is warped and gray, groaning softly every time you shift your weight. The air smells of dry earth, old pine, and the faint metallic tang of a storm brewing miles away. You have a piece of paper in your hand. It's crinkled, stained with coffee and sweat, fluttering slightly in the hot wind. It's a wanted poster, but not just any poster. The ink is heavy. The sketch is rough, but the eyes drawn on the paper seem to stare right through you. The name underneath reads, Elias Rook. Below the name, the reward is printed in bold, jagged type, $500. Dead or alive. In today's world, $500 might simply pay rent. But out here, in the vast, lawless stretch of the territories, that kind of money is life-changing. It's a ranch. It's a new start. It's enough whiskey to drown memories you don't want to keep. But you know better than most that money is also a curse. Because Elias Rook isn't just a bandit. He's a ghost story whispered around campfires. They say he robbed a federal train without firing a single shot. They say he convinced a whole town to burn their own bank. You fold the paper and slide it into your breast pocket, right over your heart. You can feel the weight of it. You aren't a hero. You aren't a villain. You are a tracker. And out here, a tracker is just a man who is too stubborn to stop walking. You step off the porch and into the dirt street. The town is called Iron Creek. It's barely a town, just a collection of buildings holding hands against the wind. Your horse, a chestnut mare with a white blaze on her nose, is waiting at the hitching post. She flicks her ears as you approach, sensing your mood. She knows the ride ahead is going to be long. You mount up. The leather of the saddle creaks, a familiar, comforting sound. You adjust your hat, pulling the brim low to shield your eyes from the relentless sun. You don't look back at the saloon. You don't look back at the few faces watching you from the shadows. You just turn the mare's head toward the west, toward the jagged silhouette of the Broken Tooth Mountains. That's where the rumors say Rook has gone, into the Badlands, into the silence. The first few days of the ride are a test of patience. The landscape out here is vast, an ocean of sagebrush and red dirt that stretches on forever. The only sound is the rhythmic clop, clop, clop of hooves on hard-packed earth and the wind rushing past your ears. It's hypnotic. It lulls you into a trance. You camp that first night in a dry riverbed. You build a small fire, just enough to boil coffee and warm a tin of beans. The flames dance, casting long, flickering shadows against the canyon walls. You lean back against your saddle, nursing the tin cup. The coffee is bitter, black as the night sky above you. Speaking of the sky, it's endless. A canvas of velvet pierced by a million unblinking stars. Out here, you feel small, insignificant. You take out the poster again. You study Rook's face in the firelight. He has a scar running down his left cheek. His expression in the sketch is calm, almost mocking. You wonder what he's doing right now. Is he sleeping under these same stars? Is he watching you from a ridge, rifle across his lap? Or is he miles away, laughing at the fools who think they can catch a phantom? Sleep comes slowly. You keep one hand near your revolver. Old habits. The desert is alive at night. Coyotes yip in the distance, a lonely, haunting chorus. An owl hoots from a dead tree. The wind whispers through the scrub brush, sounding like voices that aren't there. But eventually, exhaustion takes you. You dream of gold coins turning into dust, and of a man with no face walking away from you, always just out of reach. Morning arrives with a pale, bruised light on the horizon. The air is cold, biting at your exposed skin. You pack up camp efficiently, leaving no trace. That's the rule. If you can be tracked, you can be killed. By noon, the heat returns, pressing down on your shoulders like a physical weight. You reach a place the locals call the Devil's Anvil. It's a stretch of volcanic rock, sharp and unforgiving. The heat radiates off the black stones, making the air shimmer. This is where the trail usually goes cold. Most lawmen turn back here. Their horses go lame. Their water runs dry. Their resolve shatters. But you keep moving. You spot something near a cluster of boulders. You dismount and walk over, your boots crunching on the gravel. It's faint, but it's there. A scuff mark on the rock. A broken twig of sagebrush. And there, a spent shell casing. You pick it up. It's brass, still shiny. Not rusted. This isn't old. Someone was here maybe 2 days ago. You roll the casing between your fingers. It's a specific caliber, one used in high-end repeating rifles. Rook's weapon of choice. A surge of adrenaline hits you. It's a subtle electric hum in your veins. He's real. He's not a myth. He's a man, and he's tired, and he's careless. Or is he? You look up at the cliffs towering above you. A thought creeps in. What if he left this here on purpose? What if this is an invitation? You pocket the casing and mount up. The hunt has truly begun now. The landscape starts to change as you climb higher. The flat desert gives way to twisted juniper trees and red sandstone spires that look like the fingers of buried giants. The air gets thinner. You pass through a ghost town called Silver Hollow. It was a boom town 10 years ago. Now it's just rotting wood and memories. The silence here is heavy. Doors hang off their hinges, banging softly in the breeze. Bang, 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 like a slow heartbeat. You ride down the main street. Your horse's hooves loud on the packed dirt. You feel eyes on you, but the windows are empty, just darkness peering out. In the center of town, nailed to the door of the old church, is a piece of cloth. It's black silk. You ride closer. Painted on the silk in white paint is a symbol, a circle with a line through it. You've heard of this. Rook's men aren't just bandits. They claim to be building something new, a free state. This is their flag. You stare at it. It's bold. It's arrogant. It's a claim of territory. You realizing that the $500 reward isn't just for a criminal. It's for a revolution. The government wants him dead not because he stole money, but because he's stealing their authority. You don't touch the flag. You leave it fluttering in the dead town. You ride on, pushing deeper into the canyon. As evening approaches, the shadows lengthen. stretching across the valley floor like grasping hands. You find a water source, a small spring trickling out a rock face. You let the mare drink her fill. You wash the dust from your face, the cold water shocking your senses. You sit there for a long time, watching the sun dip below the jagged horizon, painting the sky in violent shades of orange and purple. You think about the stories you've heard about Rook. They say he was once a preacher. They say he lost his family to a railroad company's land grab. They say he doesn't kill unless he has to. You wonder if that's true. And you wonder, when you finally find him, will you be the one he has to kill? Night falls again, heavier this time. You are miles from civilization, alone in the belly of the wild. You check your weapons. You clean your rifle by the firelight, the smell of gun oil sharp and familiar. Click-clack. The action is smooth. You are ready. But as you lay down to sleep, staring up at that infinite, indifferent universe, you can't shake the feeling that you aren't a hunter anymore. You have walked into his world, and in his world, he makes the rules. Tomorrow, you will reach the Serpent's Pass, and that is where the real game begins. You cross into the territory known as Serpent's Pass. The air here feels different, thinner, drier, vibrating with a silent threat. The walls of the canyon rise up on either side of you, jagged red teeth trying to chew on the sky. You feel small here. You feel watched. It takes a specific kind of madness to track a man into a place like this. The trail you are following isn't made of footprints anymore. It's made of intuition. A broken branch here. A stone overturned there. Its damp underside drying in the sun. Rook is moving fast, but he's heavy with supplies. Around midday, you find his campsite from the night before. It's nestled in an alcove, protected from the wind. The ashes of the fire are cold. You touch them. Stone cold. He's hours ahead. But as you look closer, you notice something odd. There's a pattern in the dirt. Small stones arranged in a perfect circle around the fire pit. And in the center, a single spent bullet casing standing upright. It's deliberate. It's theatrical. He knew you would stop here. He knew you would look. It's a message without words. I am in control. You kick the stones apart, scattering the pattern. You don't like playing games. But deep down, you know, you're already playing one. The first trap. The afternoon sun beats down, turning the canyon into an oven. Your water is warm in the canteen, tasting of tin. You reach a narrow choke point called Dead Man's Throat. It's the only way forward. The path narrows until your shoulders nearly brush the rock walls. Your horse, the mare, stops, her ears pinned back. She snorts, stamping a hoof. Animals know things we don't. They sense the vibration of danger before it happens. You dismount, trusting her instinct more than your own eyes. You walk forward slowly, scanning the ground. The dirt looks disturbed. You kneel. There, hidden beneath a layer of fine red dust, is a tripwire. Its fishing line, thin, translucent, almost invisible. You trace the line up the canyon wall to a cluster of loose boulders precariously balanced on a wooden wedge. If the mare had taken one more step, an avalanche would have buried you both. It's not just a trap. It's an engineering marvel. Rook isn't just a bandit with a gun. He's smart. Rumor has it he was an engineer in the war before he turned outlaw. He knows how to build things, and he knows how to break them. You carefully disarm the trap. Your hands steady, but your heart hammering against your ribs. You mount up again, tipping your hat to the empty canyon. Not today, Elias. You whisper. The wind takes your words and swallows them whole. Nightfall in the phantom. Night falls abruptly in the canyon. One moment it's twilight, the next it's pitch black. You camp under a rocky overhang, keeping your fire small, hidden in a hole you dug in the sand. You don't want to be a beacon. You eat your jerky in silence, listening. The acoustics in Serpent's Pass are strange. Sounds echo and distort. A falling rock sounds like a footstep. A gust of wind sounds like a whisper. Then you hear it, a whistle. It's melodic, slow, drifting down from the ridge above you. It's a tune you don't recognize, something mournful and haunting. You grab your rifle, kicking dirt over the fire to snuff it out. You press your back against the cold stone wall, your eyes scanning the ridgeline. Silhouetted against the moon, you see him, a figure in a long coat, standing on the edge of the cliff, looking down at you. He's too far for a pistol shot, and he's not holding a weapon. He's just standing there, watching. You raise your rifle, lining up the sights, but you hesitate. Is it him, or is it a decoy? A scarecrow dressed in a coat to draw your fire? The figure tips his hat, slowly, deliberately, and then steps back into the shadows, vanishing as if he were made of smoke. You don't sleep that night. You sit with your back to the rock, rifle across your knees, waiting for a dawn that feels like it's taking years to arrive. This is his weapon now. Sleep deprivation. Paranoia. He wants you exhausted before you ever pull a trigger. The cave and the map. Day 3 in the canyon. You are tired. Your eyes feel gritty. But the tracks are fresher now. You find a boot print in the mud near a creek bed. The tread is distinct. He's close. The tracks lead you up a steep incline to a cave mouth hidden behind a thicket of dry brush. You tie the mare at the bottom and climb, your breath rasping in your lungs. The cave smells of old smoke and sage. You enter, pistol drawn. "Rook," you shout. The echo bounces back. "Rook? Rook? Rook?" Empty. But he was here. Recently. There's a bedroll in the corner, a half-eaten tin of peaches, and on a flat rock in the center of the cave, a piece of paper. You approach it cautiously, checking for tripwires. Nothing. It's a map, but not a map of the canyon. It's a map of the territory, towns, railroads, banks. And some of them are circled in red ink. Granite Falls, Lost Creek, Echo Valley. These aren't just hideouts. These are targets. You realize then that Rook isn't just running. He's planning. He's not fleeing the law. He's leading you on a chase to keep you busy while his plan unfolds somewhere else. Suddenly, a sound from the cave entrance. A click. You dive behind a rock just as a gunshot rings out. It hits the wall where your head was a second ago, sending stone shards flying. You scramble looking for the shooter, but there's no one there. It was a rigged gun, a pistol strapped to the wall, aimed at the map, set to a timer made of a dripping water canteen. He knew exactly how long it would take you to climb up here. He knew exactly where you would stand. He's toying with you. You grab the map and the half-eaten food. Supplies are supplies, and you scramble down the slope. You need to get to a telegraph. You need to warn these towns. The game has changed. You aren't just hunting a man anymore. You are racing against a catastrophe. The ride to Dust Creek. You ride hard out of the canyon, pushing the mare. The landscape opens up again, but it feels hostile now. Every shadow looks like a trap. You reach the settlement of Dust Creek by late afternoon. It's a miserable little place, huddled against a dry riverbed. The sheriff is a man named Old Miller, who looks like he's been carved out of dry wood. He listens to your story, chewing on a piece of straw. Elias Rook, Miller says, shaking his head. I heard he died 2 years ago in a mine collapse. He's alive, you say, slamming the map down on his desk. And he's got a list. Miller looks at the map. His face pales. Granite Falls? My brother lives there. That's a mining depot. Tons of dynamite stored in the warehouse. Dynamite. The engineer. It all clicks. Rook isn't going to rob these towns. He's going to use them. You spend the night in the jailhouse, the only secure building in town. You try to rest, but your mind is racing. You have the map. You have the lead. But you feel like you are exactly where he wants you to be. Outside, the wind picks up, howling through cracks in the walls. It sounds like laughter, low, dry, and humorless. Tomorrow, you ride for Granite Falls. But deep down, you know the road ahead is going to get bloodier. The ghost of the Badlands isn't hiding anymore. He's starting a war. And you are the only one who knows the enemy's face. You ride north, following the faint pencil lines on Rook's map. The landscape changes again. The red desert gives way to gray slate and jagged peaks. This is hard country, mining country. The air smells of sulfur and coal dust, a scent that clings to the back of your throat. You reach Granite Falls just as the sun begins to bleed behind the mountains. It's not much of a town, mostly shacks built from scrap wood and corrugated iron, clustered around the gaping maw of a copper mine. But unlike Silver Hollow, this place isn't empty. It's too quiet, but it's alive. You tie your mare in a copse of dead trees a mile out. You can't ride in, not with that map burning a hole in your pocket. You proceed on foot, keeping low, moving from shadow to shadow like a coyote. As you get closer to the main warehouse, the one Old Miller said held the dynamite, you see them. Man, dozens of them. They aren't wearing the mismatched rags of common bandits. They're wearing faded coats, military trousers, and red bandanas tied around their arms. They move with purpose. They are unloading crates from wagons. You raise your spyglass. The crates are marked with the stamp of the Union Pacific Railroad. Stolen goods. Weapons. Rook isn't just arming a gang. He's building an army. The Iron Hands. You watch for an hour, your muscles cramping in the cold. You overhear snippets of conversation. These men call themselves the Iron Hands. Disgruntled miners, ex-soldiers, men who were chewed up by the industrial machine and spat out. Rook has given them something dangerous, a purpose. Then the doors of the warehouse open, and he steps out. Elias Rook. He looks different here. In the canyon, he was a phantom. Here, he is a general. He walks among the men, shaking hands, patting shoulders. He isn't ruling through fear. He's ruling through loyalty. That makes him infinitely more dangerous than any gunslinging outlaw. He climbs onto a crate to speak. You are too far to hear every word, but the wind carries fragments of his voice. It's calm, almost melodic. They took the land. We take the iron. Tomorrow, the bridge. The bridge. You check the map in your mind. Blackwater Bridge. It's the main supply artery for the entire territory. If he blows that bridge, he cuts off the army. He cuts off the law. He isolates the entire region, creating his free state. You realize you have to leave. You have to get to the telegraph office in the next town. But as you turn to slip away, your boot finds a patch of loose shale. Clatter, slide, crash. The sound echoes like a gunshot in the silent valley. The escape and the wound. Down below, 40 heads turn in your direction. Runner on the ridge, someone shouts. You don't hesitate. You run. You abandon stealth and sprint through the scrub brush, your lungs burning. Bullets start to zip past you. Thwip, thwip, crack. They sound like angry hornets. You reach your horse, untying the knot with fumbling fingers. You vault into the saddle just as a rider bursts through the trees behind you. He's young, wild-eyed, aiming a shotgun. You draw your revolver and fire, not to kill, but to spook his horse. The animal rears, throwing the rider. But as you spin your mare around, a searing pain tears through your left shoulder. You've been hit. It feels like a hot poker has been jammed into your flesh. You grit your teeth, suppressing a scream, and kick the mare into a gallop. You ride hard, blindly, trusting the horse to find the path. Behind you, the shouts of the iron hands fade into the distance, but you know they are saddling up. They are coming. The fever dream. You ride until the moon is high and white. You are losing blood. The world starts to tilt at the edges. The pain in your shoulder has turned into a dull, throbbing drumbeat. Thump, thump, thump. You need to stop. You need to patch this up. You find a narrow ravine, a place called Coyote's Rib. You slide off the horse, your legs buckling. You stumble to a small cave, dragging your saddlebags with you. The next hour is a blur of agony. You pour whiskey on the wound. The sting is blinding. You dig out the bullet with your knife, biting down on a leather strap until your jaw aches. When the metal clinks into the tin cup, you pass out. The morning after, you wake up to the sound of rain. A desert storm has rolled in. The air is cool and smells of wet sage. You are alive, weak but alive. You sit up, wincing. Your shoulder is stiff, bandaged crudely. You drink the rest of the water in your canteen. You look at the bullet in the cup, a piece of lead that almost ended your story. You crawl to the opening of the cave. The rain hides your tracks, which is a blessing, but it also slows you down. You check your pocket. The map is still there, stained with a drop of your own blood now. You realize something has changed in you. Before this was a job. It was about the $500. Now it's personal. Rook didn't just outsmart you. His men put a hole in you, and he's planning to burn down the territory. You stand up, using the rock for support. You aren't going to the law. The law is too slow. The sheriff in Dust Creek won't believe the scale of this. You are on your own. You mount the mare. She whickers softly, sensing your pain. "Let's go, girl," you whisper. "We have a bridge to save." You ride out into the rain, a lone figure against a gray, weeping sky. You're no longer just a tracker. You are the only thing standing between civilization and the fire Elias Rook is about to light. The rain stops as dawn breaks, leaving the world washed clean and cold. You are riding toward Blackwater Bridge. The pain in your shoulder has settled into a dull, rhythmic throb, a constant reminder of the bullet you took. But you push aside. You have a job to do. You reach the bridge. It's a massive structure of timber and iron spanning a deep, roaring gorge. Below, the river is swollen with storm water, crashing against the rocks with a sound like thunder. Crash, roar, crash. You dismount and walk onto the bridge. It's empty. The iron hands are gone, but they left something behind. Underneath the main support beams, you find them. Crates of dynamite, wired together with the precision of a surgeon. A long fuse snakes its way toward the bank, unlit but ready. Rook didn't blow it yet. He's waiting for a train, or maybe he's waiting for the right audience. You kneel down, your hand shaking slightly from fatigue. You take out your knife. You aren't an engineer like Rook, but you know fire. You cut the fuse. Then, carefully, you pry the caps off the dynamite. One by one. Click. Snap. You throw the explosives into the raging river below. They disappear into the white foam. You have saved the bridge. You have kept the road open. But as you stand there, looking at the empty gorge, you realize this was just a gate. Rook has moved on to the castle, the town of Oakhaven. You follow the track south, into a valley that looks too green, too peaceful for this rugged country. Nestled in the center is the town of Oakhaven. It used to be a logging town. Now, it looks like a fortress disguised as a paradise. There are flags hanging from every porch, that same circle with a line through it. But what unsettles you isn't the flags, it's the silence. People are walking in the streets, but they aren't talking. Men are repairing fences. Women are hanging laundry. Children are sitting on steps, watching you with wide, solemn eyes. It's orderly. It's clean. It's terrifying. This is a free state Rook promised. A place of order bought with the currency of fear. You ride to the town square. No one stops you. They just watch. You feel like an intruder in a dream. In the center of the square, a stage has been built. And there he is, the sermon. Elias Rook stands on the platform. He's wearing a clean black coat now, his hair combed back. He looks like a statesman, a savior. He is speaking to a crowd of hundreds who have gathered in absolute silence. You tie your horse and walk into the crowd. You blend in, dust-covered and weary. They call us outlaws, Rook says, his voice carrying effortlessly over the square. They say we are thieves. But what did we steal? We stole back our dignity. We stole back the right to live without a boot on our necks. This valley, this is the beginning of a new world. The crowd nods. They want to believe him. They are hungry, tired people who have been beaten down by life. Rook is selling them hope. You push your way to the front. You don't draw your gun. That would make you the villain. Instead, you draw the map you stole from his cave, the map stained with your blood. He's lying to you. Your voice cracks, dry and hoarse, but it cuts through the sermon like a knife. The crowd turns. Rook stops speaking. He looks down at you, and for the first time his calm mask slips. Just for a second. You, Rook says, smiling tightly. The tracker, I thought the canyon took you. The canyon spat me out. You reply, you hold up the map. He talks about freedom. Look at this. He rigged Blackwater Bridge to blow. He wasn't going to protect you. He was going to trap you here. He was going to cut off your food, your medicine, your trade. He wants to turn this valley into a prison, where he is the warden. Murmurs ripple through the crowd. The bridge? A prison? Rook laughs, but it sounds forced. Do not listen to him. He is a paid dog of the government. He is here to put you back in chains. I'm here because I saw the dynamite. You shout, turning to the people. I saw the crates marked with the Union Pacific stamp. He's hoarding supplies in the mines while you ration your bread. Ask him. Ask him what's in the Granite Falls warehouse. You point at a man in the front row, a burly blacksmith you recognize from the description in the journal. You... Hobbs, isn't it? Have you seen the supplies? Has he shared the spoils with you? Or is it all sitting behind locked doors? Hobbs looks at Rook. Then he looks at his own worn-out boots. The doubt is there. It's taking root. The collapse of the myth. Rook's eyes go cold. He signals to his men, the iron hands standing at the perimeter. Remove him. Rook commands. He is disturbing the peace. 2 men step forward, rifles raised. But Hobbs steps in front of you. Then another man. Then a woman. They aren't protecting you because they like you. They are protecting the truth. They want answers. Let him speak, Elias. Hobbs rumbles. Rook stares at the crowd. He sees a shift. He sees the fragility of the kingdom he built. It was made of glass, and you just threw a stone. Rook sneers, his statesman persona dissolving. You fools, he spits. You need me. Without me, you are nothing but dust. He turns and walks off the stage, disappearing behind the curtain of the makeshift town hall. The iron hands look at each other, confused. Their leader is retreating. The spell is broken. You lower the map. You don't feel triumphant. You feel heavy. You just took away their hope, even if it was a false one. But the war is over. The people of Oakhaven are waking up. Elias Rook fled Oakhaven not like a king, but like a shadow. He slipped away while the town argued, while the iron hands dropped their rifles and walked back to their families. He took nothing with him. No gold, no flag, no army, just a horse and the clothes on his back. You don't chase him immediately. You watch the town settle. You watch Hobbs, the blacksmith, take charge, not as a ruler, but as a neighbor. You watch the people take down the black flags and burn them in the square. The fire is small, quiet. It doesn't look like a revolution. It looks like cleaning up. Then you mount the mare. She is tired. You are tired, but you have one last thread to cut. You follow his tracks west, toward the Whispering Arch. It's a natural stone formation miles from anywhere, a place where the wind sings through holes in the rock. It's a place for endings. The final campfire. You find him at dusk. There's no ambush this time. No tripwires. No decoys. Just a small fire flickering against the base of the massive stone arch. Elias Rook is sitting on a log, staring into the flames. His hat is on the ground beside him. His expensive coat is dusted with gray ash. You dismount 50 yards out. You walk in slowly, your boots crunching on the gravel. He doesn't reach for his gun. He doesn't even look up. I wonder how long it would take, Rook says softly. His voice has lost that boom, that preacher's cadence. It sounds human now. Small. You ran out of road. Elias. You say, stopping on the other side of the fire. Rook smiles, a sad, crooked thing. I ran out of believers. That's the real end, isn't it? A king without a kingdom is just a man sitting in the dirt. You were never a king. You reply, your voice even. You were just a man with a match in a dry field. Rook picks up a stick and pokes a fire. Sparks fly up, dancing toward the stars before fading into nothing. Maybe, but for a moment, they looked at me like I was the sunrise. You ever feel that? The weight of 1,000 hopes resting on your shoulders. No, you say. I just carry my own weight. That's enough for me. Rook nods. He looks tired, older than his years. He unbuckles his gun belt, the leather heavy with silver bullets, and lets it drop to the ground. Thud. I'm done, he whispers. The silence out here is louder than the applause. You don't handcuff him. You don't need to. The fight has left him completely. You watch him stand up, brushing the dust from his knees. He walks to his horse, mounts up, and waits for you. The long ride back. The ride back to civilization is silent. You ride side by side, not as hunter and prey, but as two ghosts passing to the Badlands. The moon rises, painting the desert in silver and blue. You pass the Blackwater Bridge, still standing, still strong. You pass the turnoff to Oakhaven, where the lights are warm in the windows. Rook doesn't look at them. He keeps his eyes on the horizon. You deliver him to the federal marshals at a designated outpost called Fort Cise. The handover is bureaucratic, boring. Papers are signed. Money is counted. The $500 reward is placed in a heavy canvas sack and handed to you. It feels heavy. Cold. You watch through the window as they lead Elias Rook into a cell. He doesn't struggle. He doesn't make a speech. He just sits on the cot and stares at the wall. The door clangs shut. Clang. The sound of a book closing. The myth of the Free State. The legend of the revolutionary. It all ends in a 6-by-8-foot room with a bucket and a barred window. Epilogue. The quiet. You walk out of the fort and into the cool night air. The wind is gentle now. The storm has passed. You tie the money sack to your saddle. You could buy a ranch. You could buy a saloon. You could buy a new life. But as you look out at the vast, empty prairie, you know you won't. The frontier doesn't let you go that easily. You pat the mare's neck. She lets out a soft breath, ready to move. Let's go, you whisper. You ride away from the fort, away from the towns, away from the noise of men who want to build empires and the men who want to burn them down. You ride back into the silence. Because out here, in the space between the stars and the dust, there are no heroes. There are no villains, just survivors and stories. And tonight, your story is finally quiet. Sleep well.